Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We have divided this session in three parts. In the first part, I will introduce to you what the World Food Program is doing and what is our interest in drones. And I'll show you a little video after that. And then I'll pass it on to Kush, our commercial partner from Astral Air. He will show you what technology is there in support of the heavy lift drones. And finally, my colleague from headquarters, Cliff, will talk about the regulatory framework and other requirements. So, you know, in the world we are living, it produces enough food for everyone. But still, it's sad to report that there are 821 million people that go to bed every night on an empty stomach. That is 1 in 9. So the World Food Program is the United Nations agency that is working to end hunger, fight food insecurity, and improve nutrition by 2030. While the food security has improved over many years because of the efforts of WFP, our partner organizations, UN agencies, NGOs, and more importantly, the governments, still every year natural and man-made disasters push a lot more people back into food insecurity and poverty. WFP is the organization of the UN system that is entirely funded by voluntary contributions of donors. And we raise annually between $5.5 and $6 billion to fund our activities. Assisting 80 to 90 million people every year worldwide in 71 countries, WFP is the leading humanitarian agency that is working to save lives and change lives. So WFP is the agency with dual mandate, that is humanitarian and development. And we deliver food aid in emergencies, and we work with communities to improve their livelihood through different activities and build their resilience. Of the global development agenda, there are 17 sustainable development goals, and WFP is focusing on 2 of them, which is SDG 2, that is to end hunger by 2030, and SDG 17, that is partnership. So why we did that? Because, well, the food security are mandate, but as a leading humanitarian agency, we realized that this cannot be done, this target cannot be achieved by itself, by one agency or one government. So we support partnerships with other UN agencies, partnership with other NGOs working on other SDGs, and partnership with the government. And while doing so, we build their capacity so that they can support their populations by themselves. And we encourage the private sector to look at the problems and solutions through the SDG lens, because implementation of SDGs is the responsibility of the governments, but we know that they cannot do it alone, as we cannot do it alone, and that's why we encourage everyone to work together through the SDG lens to achieve zero hunger. To give you an idea of WFP operations, in 2017, WFP purchased 3 million tons of food at a value of $1.4 billion, in 101 countries, and we delivered 3.8 million tons of food in 71 countries. And we work with our NGO partners and governments to make sure that the food gets to the final beneficiaries that it was meant for. WFP also uses other delivery modalities, such as cash-based transfers, that helps to mobilize local economies. That means that we give cash in the hands of the needy populations that then buy food in the local shops, sometimes selected by WFP, sometimes in the open market, which helps to mobilize the local economy. On any given day, WFP has nearly 5,000 trucks, 92 planes, to trains, to trucks, to smaller vehicles, and sometimes on elephants and camels and donkeys, and finally people carried on their shoulders to their households. In emergencies, WFP is often the first on the scene, providing emergency assistance in the situation of wars, conflicts, droughts, floods, earthquakes, hurricanes, crop failures, and other types of natural disasters. When the emergency subsides, WFP works with the communities to build back their lives and their livelihoods and build their resilience. And we do that through a development lens so that we maximize on the generous contributions we receive from the donors. WFP is also known as the logistics arm of the entire humanitarian system. In many complex emergencies, WFP is requested to provide logistics service. That includes logistics service by road, warehousing, and more importantly, the air service. So we have a very strong aviation unit based in Rome. We contract aircraft, and at the moment, there are, as we speak, large-scale air delivery operations, including airdrops, are going on around the world. I'll now show you a brief video to give you a visual impression of the WFP's operations, and you'll also have an idea of the need that is there for drones.
Hunger. 1 person in 9 lives with it. Millions die from it, but not even one should have to. Poverty, drought, floods, natural disasters, war and violence, fueling hunger and misery in more places than ever, raising the specter of famine. The World Food Program reaches those farthest behind, reaching 80 million people in 80 countries with life-saving food, fixing the root causes of hunger, fueling economies, nurturing hope and opportunity for a better tomorrow. Because there is enough food in the world for every man, woman, and child. We just need to make sure they get it. The World Food Program, working for a world with zero hunger.
Over the last 2 months, we've been able to feed nearly 2 million people in some of the most difficult terrain on Earth. So now in the recovery phase, the difficult work begins. We're employing porters. We've got over 20,000 porters who are clearing trails, carrying relief goods up into the remote areas of the country.
It is the rainy season now in South Sudan, and most of the country's earth roads are flooded or washed away. trip that will take 2 days from Juba to Rumbek now takes 7 days. WFP road engineers and logistics staff traveled about 80 kilometers away from the capital, where we had learned that more than 150 trucks were stuck due to the bad road conditions. Trucks transporting about 40 to 45 metric tons of cargo basically sink sometimes as far as 2 meters deep in these parts of the road.
Barabara mbaya, tumefanya siku 4 hapa na tuko empty bado, sio hizo zenye ziko loaded.
They have spent here 4 days.
The deterioration of the roads has a very huge impact for WFP's work. The food will not get to the location where it is needed. We have thousands and thousands of people in this country who are in desperate and urgent need of food assistance. If we can't get it in a timely nature, then we are putting these people's needs at risk.
All stations, we have a live run.
I hope it gives you an idea of the operations we are handling around the world and the need for drones that is there. The potential is there. We are definitely not planning or thinking about replacing trucks with drones, but not in the foreseeable future at least. But we definitely, you have seen the number of areas where drones can help. I leave it to the drone manufacturers, the drone operators and regulators to see where the drones can help WFP operation. But the idea of this presentation and video was to show you where the potential is. To give you in addition to the presentation, I can give you an idea of the 2017 air operations. WFP delivered about 31,000 tons of food by air, and about 80,000 tons of food was airdropped only in 2 countries, South Sudan and Syria. So with this, thank you very much for your attention. I'll pass the floor now to my friend and colleague Kush to talk about the drone technologies that's there, and we'll take it from there. Thank you very much.